All right, we are back here. We're going to take a look at our next type of drawing. That drawing is going to be a two-point perspective drawing. Now, what I want to show you here is just what's changed in our three rules. So, for 2-point, width lines go to vanishing point 1, depth lines go to vanishing point 2, height lines are vertical. So this is the same. Height lines, vertical, still the same thing. It's our width lines that have changed to go to vanishing point 1. So they're not horizontal anymore. I actually think this is going to be easier for you. So let's take a look here at what's happening. Again, we've got this really nice setup where we got our two vanishing points in place, vanishing point 1 and 2. And then we've got what I refer to as the glass box that this object has to fit in. So remember, as we look at the object, I kind of like to do it like I'm a person standing there looking at something like it's a building almost. All right. So these two dark faces are going to be on this side. These lighter ones will be on this side. And then the lightest of all, the top, kind of goes from that angle. So let's take a look at how this works. First thing I want to do is make my box. I'm going to do this super light. You might not be able to see it real well, but I'm going to try and trace these out. So everything I do, I can put my pencil on a dot and pivot my ruler. And I'm going to very lightly put these in there. Just to kind of get the idea of the direction of the vanishing points and where everything is going. Ooh, that was not a good one. But it's in pencil. I can erase it and try again. All right. Now, I did vanishing point 1 and 2. Well, those are my width lines and depth lines. I need to get some height lines in there and see if I've missed any. So I'm going to put this in perfectly vertical. Perfectly vertical. All right. All that's missing is this back side of the box. Again, every point has 3 decisions to make. In this case, the one that I missed was vanishing point 2, which was a depth line. Everything's covered. Everything's been drawn in. The box appears. Okay. Now, from this box, I can start making decisions on which faces I want to show. This is pretty cool to see things in 2-point perspective already, but we got to get this shape inside of there. So again, when we scaled this off last time, I kind of drew some cubes into what I thought this would look like to size it up. All right. So I've got 2 tall, I've got 4 wide, 2 tall. There's a 1, there's a 3, a 1, and a 1. So I've got all those kind of marked out. I like to start on this face right here because it's pretty clear that if this is a 1 and this is a 1, this whole thing needs to be divided in half. Okay. Now, super easy, follow the rules. From this dot, I got 3 rules for 2-point perspective. I've got vanishing point 2 is my depth. Vanishing point 1 would be my width. So I'm going to put a nice light line in there. All right. What's left? Height lines. Perfectly vertical. Sometimes what I do to kind of cheat is I make sure my ruler is perpendicular with my paper, so I know I get a nice clean vertical. All right. Oops, I missed it right here. A nice clean vertical line. And as soon as I do that, a new dot shows up. Well, in this case, my vanishing point 2 line is good. My height is good. I need vanishing point 1 for my width. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to switch over to a colored pencil, or a colored pen, sorry, and trace this out so that this one completed face shows up and I start to see exactly what I need for my final product. All right, so you know that this shape I've drawn right here is that guy right there. All right, so what else do we need? Well, this is the hardest part. We have to divide up this long line, this long edge right here, into 4 pieces. There's a 1 and there's the 3. So here's how I do that. I'm going to come in, I'm going to estimate this being the halfway part. Tiny little dot there. Then I'm going to divide that in half again. This dot, I'll put a little arrow there. That dot I just made represents that corner right there. Again, follow the rules. Every dot. Vanishing point 1, taken care of for width. Vanishing point 2, depth. I don't have it yet. Line my pencil up. Get it right there. Super light. Okay. Now, this area right here doesn't exist. This is the open area in the block, this open area down here. But every dot has to go 3 directions. Vanishing point 2, vanishing point 1, there's nothing vertical. I'm going to come in for my vertical line and see where I end up. All right. Now, I've just established that. Now be careful. This line right here doesn't really exist for anything. It's just a continuation of here. So I can do 2 things. I can come and erase it because it doesn't really help me build out what I'm doing. And I can see I'm left with a box. Let's go ahead and trace that out in color. Now you can choose to do this early or at the end. It's up to you. But now you can see I've established these 2 faces are those 2 faces. All right, let's check our rules out. What do we miss? Well, I got a new dot here. It does not go to vanishing point 2. It goes vertical and vanishing point 1. Every dot on here follows the 3 rules. Again, super light. We're starting to see things show up. There's that L shape right there. And that's the L shape right there. All right, I'm going to start boxing this out in ink because I've completed all 3 rules for each line. All right, now this is an intersection point right there. It's not done, but I can definitely get 2 lines out of it that are complete. There's 1. There's 2. What's missing is the vertical. This is actually the trickiest of them all because it technically has to line up with this bottom one right here. Because that intersection point, I'll draw a very light line, that intersection point of everything is this crazy inside point that's hard to get to. All right, let's go back to my pen and see how things turned out. Everything lines up. Everything lines up here. And there it is. It showed up. All the rules were followed. So some things to be careful for is when you're taking this top of this box and it passes through, you can kind of get rid of some of that. You don't need it all. But everything's in place the way it should be. Now, again, I've got a wooden pencil here. I'm going to up in my corner of my page, kind of flatten it a little bit. I'm going to come in here. My darkest sides are right here and right there. All right, so let's go 1 direction, 2 directions. Maybe I'll do diagonal too, so it's nice and dark. Same thing here. The shading really makes the drawing pop out if it's done neatly and in control. We don't want it to be a mess, like we're scribbling in a coloring book. I'm going to smudge it a little bit to get rid of some of my lines. All right, that's my dark side. Here's my second darkest side. I'm just going to do 1 direction on this. Smear it a little bit. Oh man, that looks good. I might do a little bit darker just so it shows up on the camera for you guys at home. I'd say that's A+ work there. There's your 2-point perspective. All right.